I think Disney definitely made the right decision with the approach for Zombies 4, but at the same time, that decision is the reason why I didn't really love it as much as the previous three films. And that kind of sounds contradictory, but I will explain what I mean by that. Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, was released in 2025. This is directed by Paul Hoen. It's written by David Light and Joseph Raso and Josh Cagan. And we have a cast including Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim as Addison and Zed. And I like that we are continuing with Addison and Zed's story. We, by this point, really get to know the characters really well. And in this stage of their journey, their story, they are camp counselors. And this is the bit that I loved and didn't like at the same time. I loved it because they decided to do something a little bit different. Instead of just setting the film completely at the school, we have a different environment, a different location. It's a nice way to get to know the characters in different settings, and it makes it a little bit different. But at the same time, I missed the school environment. I thought the school environment worked really well. So I don't think it was a bad decision to mix things up a little bit. But in terms of personal preferences, I didn't enjoy it as much. This one focuses on the daywalkers and the vampires who are in the separate camps. And of course, as with the previous films, it's about overcoming differences, learning to work together, learning to put your differences aside. And they've really stepped it up another notch here. And this is something they've done with every zombie film. They've added in another species, character type, and really kind of focused on the differences in other types of characters and the same messages, but with fresh characters. And I think they've done a really fantastic job with that. And this film is absolutely no exception. The characters are great, really well written, absolutely no issues there at all. This one is darker. It has a much duller colour palette. And again, that's something that I really, really, really loved about the previous three films, particularly the first and the third. The second one was still very bright, but the first and the third were just amazing. The costumes were gorgeous, the colours were just sensational, and this one is so much duller. And on the one hand, that's a big disappointment because it's one of the things I really loved about the film, and I think something that made it quite unique. But at the same time, it's not unusual for films deeper into a series to become darker. Films will slowly become darker over time. Not always, but often. So it's not a surprise, and I don't necessarily think it was a bad decision. But at the same time, for me personally, I really miss those bright, vibrant, vivid colours. So I don't disagree with the decision. I think it was expected, but at the same time, I miss the vibrant atmosphere of the previous films. They're a lot, I want to say happier. They're a lot brighter and more inviting. This one's a bit darker and more foreboding, but it works. It works well with the narrative. It's just not what I like about these films. We have some great music, great performances. It's a decent film. And also the costumes still look great. They may not be as bright and fun, but they still look very good. I don't have a problem with any of that. So in general, Zombies 4 is a good film. And it doesn't surprise me that they'd made some of these changes. By the fourth film, you need to kind of maybe shake things up a little bit so that things don't just feel exactly the same with a few tiny tweaks. This one definitely feels quite different. So I don't disagree with any of the decisions that were made, but for me personally, I don't think it was as fun or as interesting as the previous films. But nevertheless, it's a solid film. Zombies 4 was still an enjoyable experience, and if you've liked the previous three films, then certainly I'm very happy to recommend this.